Hi everyone, Lewis here, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys an overview of the H1Z1 livestream which took place on the 17th of April. This was the first ever livestream we've seen of the game, the first ever piece of real gameplay footage as well, so there's a lot to go through, and as well as giving you guys a bit of a shorter version of the livestream which was just over 50 minutes, I will also be sharing my personal opinions on it all, because a lot of people have asked me, well, what do I actually think of it, and it's kind of hard to tell you what I think of it through 150 characters on Twitter, so a video seems like a good idea. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff to get through, so let's get straight into it. They start off by showing off one of the many cities you're going to find around the map, and right now there isn't actual any map which you can find in game, but it seems like pretty much every single building in the game is enterable. We did have a quick look inside a few of the buildings, and they looked pretty decent. The loot spawns do work, and of course this isn't really a good representation of what the final game is going to be like, because there's about 10 people or so on the server, whereas on a real server there's going to be about 1,000 or so, or at least that is their goal. But yeah, they also shown off a third person option, which they have confirmed many times that of course it will be an option for the server owners. That's right, server owners, I'll talk about that a bit later. But the third person looks very similar to how it was in DayZ and Arma 2, Arma 3, it's just a third person mode, and many people will prefer it. We'll just see how many people end up actually playing third person, how many end up playing first person, because as you probably know on standalone and also a mod, not many people play first person, but there is an audience for that of course. From the little gameplay we've seen of the zombies, they looked like an actual threat, 2 or 3 bites and you are dead. That might have been also combined with the fact that the devs were starving half the time. But either way, the zombies look like a threat which aren't like desyncing. They do collide with buildings, so they'll go through buildings fine. They won't bite you when you're halfway across the map. Sorry, that's no exaggeration really, but you get the point. They don't do anything really weird considering it's an MMO. They just feel normal. I'd say the animations on them do look a bit weird, as you'll see in these clips, but other than that, they look pretty good. And also, they do have zombie ragdolls, which you'll see right here when the devs spawned in a car. They are pretty satisfactory to run over. I guess anything really is. And also, while the devs were driving around in a car, you also got to see one of the animals, which are going to be inside the game, which I don't really know what it is. I guess it's like a goat, a deer, something like that. It was kind of pale, but you'll also be able to run over goats if you want, so that's pretty good, I guess. Speaking of cars as well, they look pretty impressive. Of course, it is running on the same engine as PlanetSide 2, Forge Light it's called. So the cars do feature some pretty good physics, and also the engine does feature some very good lighting. So you'll see the lighting on the cars at night time, and also with the torches at night time. All that looks really good. It doesn't clip through walls or anything, so it's going to allow the developers to create some really compelling indoor environments which look very spooky, and it is really dark at nighttime as well, as you would have seen already. And also, when a car is tipped over, it blows up. I honestly don't know the realism in this. I've never tipped over a car in real life, and I'm not going to Google it right now, but either way, it goes kaboom when it falls over, so whatever. Don't topple over your cars. And it is also going to make me it very hard for me to survive in this game, because apparently I'm not very good at driving, but I am really good at driving, but that's what people say. And also, cars are only third person right now, but the devs said, well actually Smeedley said that in the future there is of course a possibility of first person as well. I'd really hope that there is a first person option, otherwise that's going to make those first person people really angry, because then you could just third person over a wall in a car. So I'd imagine first person is going to be a feature for cars in the future, but right now they are just third person only. Although it was already confirmed, we did get a small glimpse as to what the actual direct voice sounds like. So you will be able to go beside someone and talk to them in a proximity range. And from what I could hear, although it was very quiet and the actual streamers didn't have a mic plugged in, so they couldn't talk back to the person, but it sounded like a pretty clear voice. It was actually, from what I could hear, a better codec than the Arma one. If you've ever played Arma and you've talked to direct, you'll know the voice just doesn't sound the highest quality ever. It sounds nothing like TeamSpeak or anything like that, but it sounded like a pretty good voice codec, so it works already. And as soon as the game launches in the 4 weeks or so, then you'll be able to talk to people straight from launch, which is pretty cool. And also, if you remember back to Rust, that was something that was lacking in Rust when it first came out. So yeah, that will definitely help solidify the start of the game, whether it's going to be a bunch of dirty bandits or a bunch of friendly people. You really need the voice to get that whole message across to the entire population of a game. That doesn't really make too much sense, but I like to think it does. And if you don't have a microphone, then there is options for you too. I'm sure in the future you will be able to talk or type a chat even, but I don't think you can actually right now because the developers couldn't respond to the other developers. But there is an emotion system similar to DayZ's, which I'm guessing just works on keybinds. So right now the only two confirmed emotions which they used in game with a one hand and two hand emotions. So the one hand for, of course, hi, what's up bro, and two hands for please no shoot. So yeah, those are in game, and I'd imagine it wouldn't be too hard to implement some other ones as well if we did want to do that. And they could even improve our DayZ system and make it something like a wheel of emotions, because then you could have a shit ton of them. Whereas if we're working on individual keybinds, it is going to make it eventually a bit hard to make them all, you know, not confuse you to shit. It was already confirmed that there is a crafting system inside the game, but we did get a first look at it inside this live stream. And essentially the dev's goal for the crafting is that you're able to take over any city you see. I don't think the zombies are going to respawn in cities once you've killed them, so if you do end up killing all the zombies in a city and you've got enough wood and whatever other materials to, you know, take over the entire city and barricade it all off, put a door on it, then you can do that. We did see a small glimpse of the developer inventory and also all the things which are craftable right now in the game. Apparently the real inventory is coming very soon and it will be ready for the release, which like I said is in 4 weeks. But just to list off all the things in case you guys didn't see them in the crafting menu already. The things that you can craft right now are saline first aid, coffee with sugar, the shed, which you'll see in, well, you would have already seen in a clip, which you're able to place down. It's just a basic building. A shed door, which you would have also seen in the clip. The machete, the storage container, the animal trap, the structure wall, the dew collector, the sharpened stick trap, the bandage, the sheet of metal, combat knife, pipe, and M1911, which I don't really know how you crafted 1911, but we'll see. And apparently they did also say that weapons are incredibly rare. Well, they did say weapons are incredibly rare, so if that is a craftable thing, then it is going to be hard to make, and I guess you're going to have to make it out of something, you know, like a, I don't know, broken 1911, stuff like that. It's not like you're just going to be able to make weapons out of just metal like you can in Rust, you know, make like M4s and shit. It doesn't really make too much sense, but yeah. And other weapon you can craft is an M16A4, and finally you are able to craft ammo as well. I really don't know how all that's going to work. It seems very Rust-esque, being able to craft shit, which really you shouldn't be able to craft, but who knows, it could easily be changed and just change it so you can find it in the world instead, or maybe you do still have to like find a scrap weapon, like I said. I really don't know. All we got was 50 minutes of gameplay. No one knows. We did also get a glimpse of a sped up version of the nighttime cycle. Like I mentioned before, it's super dark and it looks really good since the lighting in the engine is top notch. So at nighttime you are going to want to get some kind of lighting, whether that be a torch, or in the future I'm sure you'll be able to get an actual hand torch as well. But right now the only lighting from what I've seen is the torch, which is a flame. You can set people on fire, you can set zombies on fire, you can run over your friends. There's a lot of stuff you could do. The game has only been in development also since December from what I've heard, and it's been developed by a team of 17 or so. So considering all of that, I'd say the game right now looks pretty decent. It's not like they've got to make some magical engine changes to make it work. PlanetSide 2 is already a game which works with 1,000 people on a server. All I really have to do is make the zombies work solid, which right now it looks like they do. Didn't see any issue at all with them. And also make the gunplay good, which from a small amount of gunplay we've seen, that also looked pretty solid. Along with everything else, it didn't look too clunky, it looked fine, can't really complain. Other than the stuff I listed, wasn't actually too much of gameplay mechanics which were shown off. A lot of streamers answered questions, and a lot of it was spawning in stuff. So there wasn't actually too much gameplay considering the stream was rather short, but I'm sure there will be some more streams in the future before our release date, which, just as a third reminder, it's in 4 weeks from now. But on Jay Smedley's Twitter, the president of SOE, who are of course making H1Z1, he did talk a bit about something which I mentioned earlier, which are player servers. Initially, I'd imagine most people thought, well, it's an MMO, there's only going to be MMO servers, 1,000 slot first-person servers, 1,000 slot third-person servers, but he confirmed that we are going to be starting off a new thing with H1Z1, which are going to be player servers, where you are able to have your own server and kind of vote for what you want. Well, not have your own server, but you're able to vote for what you want as a community if you join that server. So you could do things like increase the amount of military weapons, vehicles, a lot of stuff, and it's not really known how exactly it works right now, but it's an interesting idea, and it could lead to really make it so it's a game that you actually want, instead of just playing on these servers and dealing with it. You can really have an impact if you and a bunch of people believe it should be a certain way. So that sounds like a pretty cool idea, and some people have said, you know, it's going to split up the community, it's going to make it so that there's not many people playing on actual official servers. Who the hell knows? All I know is it sounds like a decent idea, and yeah, I can kind of see where they're coming from on that, but I'd imagine it should be fine. The game is going to be eventually free to play. It is $20 for Steam Early Access, as it was confirmed a while ago, well, a week ago when it was announced. So yeah, there shouldn't be any issue with getting people to play the game, I know that much, and from a gameplay alone today, I'd say it looks pretty good. The only issue I'd say I have is the world itself. It seems very incomplete, and that's mainly because it is very incomplete. It is going to be having a lot of changes in the future. The developers were even saying how some new stuff just appeared on that day that I didn't see before. So the world is going to change a lot. There's some things missing from roads, like the actual barriers on each side, and just certain things which are going to be added with time. And since it is being developed even by SOE, which are Sony, kind of, there's a lot of money back in it. Like I said before, the engine is great for an FPS MMO. The money is back in it because it's SOE, so I really don't see how it can go wrong unless, like I mentioned in my previous video, they somehow completely ignore the community, which so far they definitely have not done that at all. But anyway, that's pretty much it. Like I said before, I'll leave a link to a full live stream in the description below, and also make sure to follow them for any future streams as well. But I'm wondering what you guys actually think of the game, because from the people I talked to, there was a few conflicting opinions. Some people saying it's shit. In fact, one thing which I completely forgot to mention, but the nighttime looks super foggy and super spooky. But yeah, I think it looks pretty good. I mean, it hasn't been in development for too long, and the core gameplay mechanics do work. So I really don't see an issue with it. You're able to collect resources, barricade up shit, kill zombies, play with players, kill players, whatever. It's the basic stuff is in there right now. So yeah, tell me what you guys think. Right now, it looks like a mix of DayZ and Rust. It does have the inventory system with 3 different inventory slots for different weapons. And I'm not really sure if it'll ever like take over DayZ. I'm not sure if it's going to do everything DayZ does and more, or if DayZ is going to have a separate place in the market. But only time will tell. But anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and all good stuff. And I'll see you guys next time.
Hi, Lyric and Lewis. What?